What the flip is up, guys? I know what you're thinking. If you're one of my followers that's been following me for a while, and you look, and this ain't the G3, that's exactly right. This is my brand new 2022 Avid 20XB. That's right. Old G3. She treated me really well. However, got stuck in a really bad storm on Santee and ended up getting totaled out. I had like 9 cracks in the hull, and it damaged a bunch of the substructure under the front deck. Tore up the transom pretty good, and just well beyond repair. You go weld them on aluminum boats like that, and without properly heat treating afterwards, it's just going to continue to crack. And honestly, that boat just wasn't worth the amount of money, it was time and money it was going to take to fix that boat properly. So here I am, new boat. This was not my plan originally. I've been really wanting to go brand new for a long time, obviously, like everyone does. And most people see it as, oh, it's a boat, you don't need a boat, you know, that much money. Yeah, but I see it as an investment. As much as I fish, I've got the AFFL coming up next year. I'm trying to get this YouTube thing going. I'm really trying to invest a lot of my time into fishing so that I can get better, so that when it does come time for my retirement out of the Air Force, I can pursue a professional career. So with all those things together added up, it just makes sense to me to buy something I'm going to have a warranty on. I know it's new. I know it's going to last me a while. I have a lot of faith in Yamaha, so I went with the Show VMAX. And man, I'm just really excited. So let's break down why I went Avid. I needed an aluminum rig. I'm always up in this crap. I'm in a 6-inch deep creek right now filming this, and this is how I fish. I'm shallow. I beat it up. If you guys ever watch Jason Christie explain and Bill Lowen explain why they're fishing out of expresses, it's the same reason I chose an Avid. One of the major things is you cannot get an express right now. I mean, without waiting months and months and months and months. Trust me, I looked into it. But also, you know, this is a newer company, Avid is. If I'm not mistaken, from what I understand, the engineers from Vexus left and formed Avid. So if you look at a Vexus and an Avid, they're very similar boats. They almost look identical, unless you those few little minor details. But one thing I really like about it is, gosh, this thing freaking handles amazing. This is not, I want to preface with this. This is not your average tin rig, right? This boat, I mean, it blew my mind. Like, I watched all kinds of videos. I've seen, you know, a lot of forums talking about how if you blindfolded somebody and put them in and they believe it's a glass boat, and that is 100% a fact. This boat in rough water, in clean water, I mean, it doesn't matter. It flat out gets it, and it handles waves just like a glass boat. It's a little bouncy in big waves, like big waves, because it's a lot wider, which is expected. But I mean, it's not like you're like my G3, or I don't know, like an old Crestliner or something, where you're running down the lake. Santee Cooper here, perfect example. You get on the lower lake on a windy day and it's beating the crap out of you. Not this boat. No, this boat just plows straight through them, and it's still light enough to get shallow. Obviously, I'm in a 6-inch deep creek right now. It's just insane to me. I mean, it blows my mind how well it handles. I think one of the key factors to help, I do have the Atlas hydraulic jack plate. I mean, that first time I ever owned a jack plate, period, much less going straight to hydraulic. It is, yeah, it's nice. If you're looking into buying these, I highly suggest it, especially if you're like me and you like to get up shallow, but you also want to get out deep. So Santee, I need, and Murray, I need to have the jack plate to lower it in them big wave days, keep that motor down and keep the boat stable. but then I can also trim it all the way up and have a little peace of mind when I'm running in 2 feet of water and there's stumps everywhere. So what I want to do with this video is I'm just doing a quick like first impression style video. I've had the boat about close to a month now. I haven't had the time to get it out like I want to, unfortunately, but I've spent a pretty decent amount of time in it, enough to have a good first impression of the boat. So I'm going to talk about a couple of the pros and cons, show you a couple things if you're in the market looking at them. There's nothing that would steer me away from it. I'm going to start with that. Like, I'm still very happy with my purchase, do not get me wrong. But there's a couple of things you should consider talking to your dealer about if you're going to buy one. So I'm going to start with the cons because there's not that many and there's a lot more pros. So I'll start with the bad first and end with the good stuff. How about that? One of the things I really, really don't like, it just blows my mind, is the trim gauge doesn't work from the factory. And I asked the dealer about this. I said, hey, the trim gauge doesn't work. And he was like, oh, shoot, yeah, you're right. So he calls the service department. His service department says, well, yeah, it doesn't work on any of the Avids because it has a digital sending unit in the motor. So the Yamaha has a digital trim sending unit, but they put an analog gauge in the boat. So they're incompatible. So you'd have to put an analog sending unit, which I got from the dealer because I drove all the way to Arkansas and back in 2 days, so I didn't have time to sit around and have them fix it. I just don't understand. And maybe that guy lied to me, and I hope that's the case because that blows my mind that you would install incompatible parts knowingly. I'm going to leave that alone. Maybe mine's just bad. I got to take it to the dealer along with a few other things that need to be adjusted. So anyways, let's move on. The rod lockers. So, you have 2 rod lockers. I'm sitting on one right here, and then you have a port side rod locker over here. This rod locker, according to the website, says you can put 7.5-foot rods in it. You have these tubes in here, like dividers, I guess, dividing tubes you could call them. Now, I wish I would have taken a video before I cut it, because I cut the tubes. 2 of them were like maybe a foot long. Like, I don't know what you're going to put in there besides a Barbie pole. And then the other ones were still not long enough to put 7-foot, not even a 7-foot rod. I couldn't get 7-foot rods in there. So I had to cut the back of the tubes off to where the rods will go all the way through. Another thing I really dislike is the gas, the way you fill the gas. So you fill it right here. And then you have your gas tube, which comes down and goes up here. Somewhere, somehow, it backs up to where I have to pump extremely slow to fill it up. And you cannot see your gas tank. So you fully have to rely on your gas gauge to be fully operable, which we all know in time, all boat gauges fail at some point in time. So I wish there was like a sight glass or something. I know that's not feasible for all boats, but it would be a nice feature for sure. I don't know when live well timers became a thing. I didn't look it up or anything. My 2004 low John boat had a live well timer factory installed. $57,000 boat. No live well timer. They market it for bass fishing, and it doesn't even have a live well timer. A $15 live well timer in a $50,000 boat. Take them 5 minutes to install during the factory. Once again, I think it's kind of cheap. I think you can see, like, you hear about Ranger not installing live well timers, or Skeeter, Nitro, even Nitro, Tracker. They've got live well timers installed from the factory. It's a newer company. They have kinks. That's why I wanted to start with this stuff, and maybe I'm coming off a little harsh, but I don't mean to. It's just, these things are like, I don't know, they just don't make sense to me, I guess. But anyways, enough of the negative stuff. Let's get into the positives. The boat handles amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. It turns well. It gets up, it rides on a pad. I mean, you can feel the nose lift, and you can feel you're just running on nothing but the motor. And it's just awesome. Like, but I already went into that, so I'm not going to dig much more into that. I mean, I think it's an absolutely beautiful boat to begin with. The color is amazing. The color scheme is great. The shape, I mean, if you're from a distance, you can't even tell it's an aluminum boat. I mean, the way that it has the rolled gunnels, it looks like a fiberglass boat. I love it. One of the big things I really, really enjoy about it is it has huge decks. The front deck and the back deck are just absolutely massive. Who doesn't love a big deck? I'm 5'8", and I barely had to bend my legs to lay across the deck like that. I mean, it is a huge deck. You can easily fish 2 people, and probably even 3. I mean, I don't like having that many people in the boat at one time personally, but I'm willing to bet if you had somebody fishing off the front, you could have 2 dudes off the side, no issues. No issues, unless you're just not paying attention to each other. But if you were communicating, I feel like you could easily fish 3 people off the front deck alone, much less you could definitely fish 2 off the front and 1 off the back, no doubt. I mean, even the back deck, you have so much room. The back storage is massive. You have the massive back storage here. I've got rain gear, life jackets, got a bunch of stuff in here. Still plenty of room, and they've got little drains, so you realistically could use these back storages as coolers if you wanted to use the front for something else, like a day box or something. One thing I really like is the seats have space behind them to put your net there. And then the front storage, I mean, it's absolutely amazing. You have the center storage locker. It can accommodate 3 tackle boxes on the sides, and then I just use it to quickly throw rods in and out instead of having to rod sock, and then I keep all of my tackle in there. I keep some stuff in this one. I mean, there's still plenty of room. I've got a bunch of junk in there right now, and then got the little cooler here that does very well even in really hot weather. I've already had it out. That cooler is phenomenal. One thing I really want to point out is you have these raised hatch things. I don't know, words are hard right now. And they silicone around them, so from what I can tell so far, no water leaks. It does have these rubber ones that are not glued down very well. My rod locker one came unglued, so I'm gonna have to re-glue that, but not a big deal at all. And this nice little drawer here, it's kind of a pain to get open. I think mine's a little off the tracks. I need to take it apart and see if maybe I messed it up somehow, but I mean, it's a deep little drawer. It stays dry for the most part. I've had it out in the rain, nothing got wet in here. I keep my wallet, my key, scale, Minn Kota remote, cold beam, pliers, keep just about a little bit of everything in there. But guys, if you have any questions about this boat, feel free to right now drop a comment. I will definitely answer it. Feel free to message me on my Instagram. I love this boat. I hope you don't take the negative things I said and that turns you off. All those things could be cheaply installed and or fixed from the dealer. Unfortunately, I kind of played it stupid and I drove all the way to Arkansas, turned around the next day, bought the boat, and then turned around and drove back. I should have spent a little more time on it, I reckon. I did ride in the boat. I did look over a lot of things, but unfortunately, there's things you're going to miss. So hopefully, you guys learn from my mistakes on a couple of these things, and maybe call your dealer or before you even get there and say, hey, I ain't buying this boat without a live well timer, or whatever it is that bugs you. Stay tuned, I got a video coming up shortly, how to fish cypress trees, and you know we're gonna be flipping. See y'all later.